everybody. Welcome to Game Off Podcast. This is episode 32, and this week we got some news. PlayStation saying that all current PlayStation 4 games certified after July must play on PS5. What does that mean for game developers and the current console generation? We also got our weekly Fireside chat coming up, and then we got our special showcase of the week. We got two great games, Streets of Rage 4 and Minecraft Dungeons. I'm your co-host Brent, aka Arcadia, along with
Andrew, aka me, Solid Talker.
Yeah, that's the guy right there.
That's me. I'm the one that's talking.
I'm pointing at him. You better look. All right. All right. Well, so straight into the news. Andrew.
Uh-huh.
Sony has announced that every PlayStation 4 game to be certified after July 13th of this year must also play on PS5. Absolutely mandatory. No exceptions, as far as I know, or that they've announced. How do you feel about game developers this close? It's June right now. This article came out 2 days ago on May 29th from Eurogamer. How do you think this is going to affect game developers?
I wonder if this is... Maybe I'm reading into it too much. Sony's looking at it and thinking, well, shit, we don't really actually have all that many games that are PS5 certified and compatible right now. And we're supposed to be releasing a new console soon. Let's make everyone else make our games. Like, it has that feeling of like a... Because we had that problem at the beginning of the current generation, where everyone was kind of holding off to see what happened with the new generation, and so we got a lot of remasters and a lot of re-releases. I'm wondering if they're
test bed stuff.
They're hoping to like avoid that and avoid another. Hey, the best game we've got out right now is Knack. And say like, well, no, you have to. We're not going to let you, and you have to do it.
Ready.
You have to play our game. You have to do it this way. Otherwise, you can't sell. I'm also wondering how much that really means. Like, if I'm making Alien Hominid 2, what does that mean for me to be PS5 compatible?
Right. Yeah, it seems like they're really confident in like their systems architecture and that it must be nearly identical to the PS4s, because otherwise, like, porting a game's not easy. I don't know how you can expect a developer to like build their game and then rebuild it on an entire new architecture with this little notice. So it does scream sort of confidence. But my other thought was that like maybe they're trying to strong arm CD Projekt Red into getting Cyberpunk on their platform ASAP. That was just a weird, cynical thought I had recently, because they CD Projekt Red is basically like, yeah, we'll get it on the new consoles eventually. It's coming to current gen. It's coming in September, and that's where you're gonna have to play it until we get around to porting it. Yeah, it's
so
just...
you think they just desperately don't want to have anyone? They don't want anyone to have any reason to not buy a PS5.
Yeah, I think that's sort of like, that's definitely the cynical outlook, but there's not really many not cynical outlooks when you put mandates like that out. Like, yeah, you probably are saying like, we've sold so many platforms, like how do we get people moving to the next? Like the PlayStation 4 is one of the best selling consoles ever. Like it didn't sell as well as the Wii, obviously, but like, God, I don't even have the fucking sales numbers. But yeah, how do you get that many people rapidly moving to a new console? You say that all of the games that they want are also on this new console, and it's going to look infinitely better. Every single one of them. They can't say that every game is going to be backwards compatible. They've said something like 1,000 games are going to be. That's a good amount. Like, it's probably going to be all their first-party games. I'm looking forward to finally getting around to Spider-Man on the new console. That's one of the ones that they demoed early, and it looked pretty ludicrous. But yeah, they've sort of... They're almost in a corner right now because their backwards compatible program's not as robust as the Xbox's, which they've said is entirely forward compatible. So that
was a bold claim.
Yeah, I think they said something like 4,000 like backwards compatible games are going to launch on Series X, which I think is the entire library. I'm not sure. Um, that'd include the Xbox One and the 360. So yeah, I think just pure numbers wise, PlayStation doesn't want to find themselves in a hole like losing the narrative early on in this console generation. They're so far in the lead numbers wise, like they just like they'd rather strong arm devs than strong arm the common consumers.
I wonder what you could read into or extrapolate from this on the general business model of consoles. Like, this is a whole thing that they're having to do now because they've decided that this is when they draw their line in the sand and this is the new one, and they now need everyone else to obey that line in the sand and push everyone to the new one.
Yeah.
And my thought is that, like, so CD Projekt Red seem like they're happy with the way that the game is going to look like on the PS4 and the Xbox One. They seem to be pleased with the way that game's coming out. I've not seen them complain or say that it couldn't possibly live up to the standards that they're holding themselves to.
Yeah.
So we're kind of, well, no, but you have to do it this way. We need you to be, whether you want to go into the future, they're gonna drag us kicking and screaming into the next generation of consoles.
Right. Yeah, it's to no benefit on these developers' parts, just because it's certified in both consoles doesn't mean it's going to be optimized or like well worked on. Because those are two completely different consoles. Like one, not least of which, like you're going to have an SSD on the new consoles, so it's going to just run and load 1,000 times more quickly. It just seems weird for them to just be like, yeah, like it's just ticking a box, like no problem, don't worry about it.
It says something to me as well as like, shouldn't your developers already want to do this? Like, what is it about the PS5 that if it's so easy and it's going to be this thing that sells gangbusters, wouldn't your developers all be stupid if they didn't want to do this? So what am I to read into this?
Yeah,
why don't they already want to do this?
Yeah, what's the downside for them to do it? Why do you need to draw this line in the sand this early? 3 months before the console, 4 months before the console's even supposedly gonna debut.
Yeah. So yeah, the whole thing confuses me, and again, I'm still not really 100% sure like what this means for all of the indie games that come out, or the like something like a AA game like Hellblade.
If it means anything more than ticking a box and being like, yeah, just put it on the PS5 store as well, then it's like just egregious strong arming of these devs that shouldn't exist. But if it is that easy, then great. Like, it's a little bit gross saying that like our platform's not open enough where you can do whatever you want. Like, you have to abide by these certain, constitutions, but like, hopefully, at the very least, after them saying this, it's just the simplest possible fucking process for them to get all these indie devs onto this new platform.
That would be nice. I hope that it's something that's easy. Anything that makes it easier for indie devs and, AA studios to put together games and get them out there is awesome. And if PlayStation 5 is giving them the tools to do that, and it's an easy port to just expand their potential marketplace, I'm still not sure, like, and I don't know if I've seen anyone talking about this yet, but the transferability of digital stuff that I already own on PS4 or Xbox to the next generation.
Well, so I don't know how it's going to work with PlayStation. I don't think they've announced yet. At their coming soon state of play, maybe they'll talk about it more. On Xbox, they'll have a certain program called Smart Delivery, which is like, buy once, you get it on, Xbox One, Xbox Series X, and also maybe PC if it's a UWP, which most games aren't. But that won't be backwards applied to games as far as I know, so that'll only be new games coming out. So I think PlayStation 4 will be relying on the backwards compatibility for stuff like that.
Okay, yeah. I guess that's fair.
Yeah. I mean, I'm definitely all for progress. Like, I'll be grateful in 4 years that we make this like strong giant leap into the future, and everyone's just developing for the new consoles and building with the hardware that's out there, because all the games will be quick and beautiful and yada yada yada. But like in the present, it just is like how does a QA team handle this new console that they may not have dev kits for? Like they don't even have like the testing equipment to test on, but they have to certify their games across multiple platforms. Like
it feels like these certifications are just going to be like, what's the bare minimum we need to do to say that we're compatible? Okay, just do that. At which point, being certified for PlayStation 5 means nothing.
Yeah, then you're just Steam on console, which if some people might like.
Well, I mean, I've seen some of the stuff that PlayStation puts out in their store. It's pretty Steam-like.
Is Honey Pop on PlayStation yet?
You know, I don't know. I don't know if they are
right now. But yeah, I think we've beat that topic with a hammer. Any final thoughts?
I'm not going to buy a PlayStation 5 either way, so it doesn't. It's 6-1 for me, but
yeah, it'll definitely be the second console I buy. But I mean, I always end up buying all the consoles. It'll be more of just like I can't buy two on the same day because I'm not a billionaire, so one's got to wait. Yeah, so I guess we'll see how it works. I haven't heard too many game devs speak out against it, honestly. So like, it's possible we're reading too much into it, but a surface value, yeah, feels kind of suspect, gross. But you know, well, it remains to be seen.
It all seems gross.
You're gross. Sorry. You're very handsome.
Thank you.
Hey, Andy.
Hey, what's up?
I got a question for you.
Oh, do you now?
Was that an Irish accent? That's not the question.
It came out that way. It was not what I was intending for at all.
Oh, do you now, laddie?
Oh,
temperature bearded. Oh, God.
Oh, we're not winning any awards.
No. We just got banned from the Republic of Ireland.
Yeah.
What are your expectations for the E3 season this year?
You know, I'm excited, and I'll tell you why for, because that's how conversation works. I'm really excited at the idea that this is going to create a lot of smaller showcases for smaller games. There was already that Wholesome Direct last week, which, did you see that at all?
I did not. Long story short, I didn't. But go on.
That is a short story. Needs a little work in the third act, but you had me through it.
I was going to go on to the most boring story in the history of stories, and I realized it just in time, where I didn't start it.
I dropped my phone, and then I lost a piece of it, but then I found it some kind of way, and...
All right, I'm telling the most boring story in the history of stories now, because I'm in that spot. I'm in this position. I press the save later button on YouTube because I always think it's going to do something, and it never does. It doesn't remind me later. It just goes into this random playlist that I'm never going to watch, and I don't see for fucking 3 years. And then I'm like, oh, I did want to watch that video like 4 years ago before that game came out. So that's just what happened. I hit save later, and then I completely forgot about it. Anyway.
It was an interesting watch. What I liked about it was how many of those games were games that were, these very small team games that weren't going to get a lot of press. They weren't going to get any real exposure, for other than what they could drum up themselves on social media, which some of them do a very good job of. But to have something like that pop up, and now this is something that, you've got 20, I think it was like 20 games, 15 games in an hour-long Nintendo Direct style video that got a lot of eyes on it, and I saw a lot of games that I'm interested in that I would never have seen otherwise. And so the idea that those kind of things are cropping up, I think, was it Paradox and a couple other publishers are all doing like a small show together as well. Oh, Rebellion, I think it's Paradox, Rebellion, and a couple others. They're doing their own small show. Like those kind of things cropping up, I think is better for everyone. Yeah, because it allows for allows for eyes to get on things. It allows for people to spend more time looking at a specific game without having that irritating like PC game showcase where you have to work in time for the developer to sit down on the couch and chat for 10 minutes afterwards.
Yeah.
Where like all I really want is just to watch the gameplay trailer.
Yep.
just for most of these games, I don't need to see an interview. I don't, it's like recipe blogs. 99% of the time, I don't need to know the story behind the recipe.
God.
I just need to know what you did to make that tartar sauce. What was your secret ingredient?
Yeah, why isn't that at the top? Just what are the ingredients to this?
Just what is the game? I don't need you to front end it with the story of how the game was made and who all the people. Like, it's great that all those people are there, and I want to support them by giving them money for the game that I want you to. I'm asking you to advertise to me right now. I'm literally begging for ads. Just show them to me, please. Why won't you show me ads? So I would love for those things to go up, and then at the same time, the hot garbage that was like Bethesda's conference last year should just go away.
Boy.
Don't do a conference. You're just embarrassing yourself. Like, you didn't have enough to justify a conference, so just don't do one. And
Yeah,
so
theirs last year was just Doom Eternal, wasn't it?
No, they made that joke about about Fallout 76 and then announced a battle royale mode, which everyone wanted and loved.
Did that come out?
I don't know if that's actually out yet. I know they added that at the Wasteland whatever the one that added NPCs. You know, that
Hooray!
That NPC DLC that you always hear about games having.
Thank God, some life in the world.
We added other characters. We figured you might want them. I don't know. 2 years
Thought
later,
you were lonely.
I like it. I like breaking it up. I like, decentralizing it because it allows for more voices, and I think it'll allow for better exposure, and it will get rid of some of the cynicism that comes from those gigantic stages. And yeah, you lose some of the fun moments that you'd get from those big stages and the developers who are kind of quirky or cute or nervous introducing their games that were always fun to see.
Yeah. Yeah, Keanu Reeves on Skype isn't going to have the same impact of him like running out on stage and, blowing kisses to the audience.
Yes, or that it might have been that same conference with that absolutely adorable, very excited developer on stage talking about her game that she was working on. I can't remember the game or her name right now because it was like a year ago.
Oh, I think that was Bethesda. That was the oh god.
Was it the Xbox showcase?
No, that was Bethesda's. You're thinking of the Tokyo one.
Oh yeah, Tokyo Ghost or something like that.
Yeah, Tokyo Ghouls, something like that. I know what you're talking about. I'm sure most of the people listening do too.
Yeah, if you watched E3 last year, you remember her, and she was just so full of life and energy and so excited about her game. It was great.
Yeah, Nakamura, I think her name was.
Yes, that sounds right. But yeah, so I'm excited for all of that, and I don't. I never went to E3. I never experienced it myself, so I only know it through the lens of the internet. So my opinion is obviously going to be shifted that way, but I think that we're going to lose. The things that we lose are worth losing for the things that we're going to gain, and for allowing it to just be a general season rather than a week. How about you?
I think I agree for the most part. I think we were sort of heading in this direction anyway, and this whole pandemic has sort of just solidified the place that those smaller showcases have in those directs. Because you were seeing like the Devolver one every year. You were seeing a few other ones pop up. Like last year, I think Kind of Funny had an indie showcase that went over really well. And and this is all at the same time as people starting to peel away from E3 because of all the data breaches and all the weird handling of the entire event anyway, and like it becoming more of a consumer facing thing, and then consumers realizing that they don't get like invites to the E3 pressings, which is like half of what they enjoy about it, and the actual press conference the actual event being a bit weird because you're waiting in line forever because it's a press event first and foremost and an industry event, and then consumers came second. So we're sort of we've been watching the downfall of E3 for a few years anyway, so I think that's just gonna get escalated tenfold with this pandemic. So yeah, my expectations this season, we're gonna see the future of E3. We're gonna see what we're gonna see next year and what we're gonna see in the years after, and whatever comes back for a proper E3 conference. industry event is going to look very different, probably a lot small. Well, maybe not a lot smaller, but a lot different. Because the games industry is still getting bigger every single day, and like it's one of the strongest industries now during this pandemic. So it's be kind of foolish to say that E3 is just going to be like 3 companies in a fucking shanty on like Van Nuys Boulevard in downtown LA or some shit. Like it'll probably still exist, just in a very, very different form. And there really aren't in LA. There's not many consumer gaming events anyway. Like maybe it just becomes PAX and it doesn't make as much money, but it still exists and people still love it. That's fine. But yeah, we're seeing this rapid transformation of like the June premiere season. Like E3, the word might, or the phrase, the 2 characters might mean absolutely nothing in 10 years. It might just be like, it's that season. That started a while ago. Like the Assassin's Creed games were always getting premiered like early as fuck in the year, like March. So that sort of always, to me, kicked off the game premiere season. And then like even a couple years ago, we were starting to see a lot of games just having their own small events before E3, and then E3 was just like, you know, the time that they showed gameplay and people could actually play it. So yeah, I think for most people at home right now, it's not going to be that much different. It's just going to be you're watching different Twitch channels or whatever showing the streams of all these different game premieres. But you know, the industry is just as strong as ever. Development might be a bit slower, so I think it'll still be a good, healthy season. But it'll seem a little slower because of the slow trickle of information. It won't be those 3 hype days that you get. that I'll miss.
Yeah, those 3 days, you know, especially just like going nuts with new info for those 3 days was a lot of fun. If it was a bit much to take in.
Yeah,
I did see. Devolver Digital is putting on a podcast now. And,
really?
Yeah, it's interesting to listen to. I'd recommend it. But one of the things they talked about, which is a perspective I never would have thought of, was that, you know, the conventions and stuff like E3 is actually one of the only times that the developers get to meet people. Because you know, for like Devolver, the developers of these small games are there at the Devolver booth, and they're meeting people in the industry, and they're meeting gaming press, and they're meeting other people and watching these people playing demo builds of their games.
Yeah,
and that's a very different and informative experience for them. So on that point, you know, that is kind of a shame, losing something like that for them. Obviously, they're a very small percentage of the population, and I wouldn't recommend that we like subsidize E3 to pay for it for them. But it was just a take I hadn't thought of.
That's actually a really good point too, because so when I went to E3, it was the year before Sea of Thieves came out, and when I was there, I was familiar with the industry, but I didn't know like the heads of the dev studios and stuff, and we waited in line for a while to play Sea of Thieves, and the guy that led us over to the game just seemed like really excited about the game, and all the people that were there were really excited about the game, and like I watched like just some random video later about Sea of Thieves, and it was like, oh yeah, the lead game designer here is like Craig Duncan. He's coming out, and I was like, that was the guy that led us over to the booths to play the fucking game. Like they're like these game devs are really down in it, and like I'd also gone to like PAX East, and it seemed a bit more like, I don't want to say corporate, but it's like it felt more disconnected. Maybe it's just because Boston's not a huge dev town, and so there's not a huge draw for these devs to come out and do all this stuff. But I was playing all these different games, and it was always just these like guys and girls that were like basically salespeople. They weren't the actual game devs. So like that's a special experience on both sides. It's like, wow, I'm like at E3, I'm really getting to like hang out with these game devs and see like how excited they are for you to play this game, because the salesman's just gonna like reading through their lines, like get you in and out, hope you had a good time, like here's your fucking trinket, goodbye. So hopefully something like that does still exist in the future, if not E3 in some form.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the concept is there. I think it's just it itself needs to be, you know, it needs to kind of go the way of the phoenix and just die and be reborn as something better.
Yeah.
because there's too much baggage there, and it needs to be something that's not just the Microsoft showcase, the Sony showcase, the
Yeah.
Nintendo.
Yeah.
It needs to evolve into a greater thing that kind of embraces the larger gaming community as a whole.
Right. Yeah. Iterating too slowly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was the Fireside Chat.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Showcase time?
Yeah, let's do it.
Streets of Rage 4.
Yeah.
That's new.
Streets of Rage 4 is new. It is the latest in the aptly titled Streets of Rage series, which started with Streets of Rage and then was followed by Streets of Rage 2, which was followed by Streets of Rage 3, and now Streets of Rage 4. As it normally goes, it's a side-scrolling brawler, and it's done very much in that 16-bit style. And it started off in the Sega Genesis, and it's, the fourth game, Streets of Rage 4, is done a very good job of taking that same feel and that aesthetic while still looking like a modern game, as far as just higher res graphics, not blocky 16-bit graphics, but all of the movement and play feels like a Genesis 16-bit brawler or beat 'em up. I don't actually know what the difference between a brawler and a beat 'em up is, because I'm a gaming scrub and I don't play games, but I think there's a difference. Is a brawler like Arkham Asylum?
Yeah, I was gonna say that.
Am I using the
I
wrong
might say
word
the
here?
inverse. I would say that's maybe a. No, I don't know. Who cares?
You know what? I'm going to try and stick to calling
There
it.
maybe is difference.
I kept going back and forth in my head as to which one I should use. I'm going to keep calling it a beat 'em up, because that's what in my mind, games like Streets of Rage and Final Fight and River City Ransom are games where you beat people up, so they're beat 'em ups.
Yeah. Okay. I'm down with that.
Okay. That's the term I'm going to use going forward. I apologize if that's not correct. But it's exactly what you'd imagine if you think of that, a continuation of that style of beat 'em up. You pick up one of many characters, you take them through these side-scrolling bits of a city, you punch and kick and jump punch and jump kick and grab and throw your way to the end where you fight a big boss, and then you unlock the next part of the story where you do that all again. You can pick up stuff around you, like whole chickens that you can eat to get health, or apples like you normally find in mailboxes in the inner city. People just keeping their whole chickens in there. You can also find weapons, swords, knives, boomerangs, bricks, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there wasn't bricks. A bunch of different weapons that you can hit people with or throw at them, which is always really fun. That's the general gameplay. That's kind of what it is. You go around, you're doing punches and kicks to guys, and then they all have their names, the little health bar appears, the health goes down, and then they die.
Okay. That does sound like a Streets of Rage game.
Yeah, it's... I wouldn't say that it's really done all that much to elevate. Like, it's not taken Streets of Rage and exploded the formula out into this amazing new thing. It's kind of gone more like the Sonic Mania route, but without sticking strictly to the graphical style.
Yeah.
So I guess almost like what they tried to do just with Sonic the Hedgehog 4, if you remember that one, back in 2009 or 2010.
Yeah, episode 1 and 2, and then that was it.
Yeah, it's like they did that, but they did it correctly, instead of doing it garbage. Sorry, I didn't like that one. But yeah, it's more like Sonic Mania in that it is fun and fresh, and it feels like it has a lot of new energy and new stuff to do, but it is just the same format. It's just more Streets of Rage.
So is this? Have you played all of the Streets of Rage games?
I beat 1, 2, and no, I never beat 3. So I've beaten 1 and 2, and I've played 1, 2, 3, and 4.
Okay. So my question is how does it iterate on the formula? Does it feel like how, I guess expanding on what you were just saying, how does it iterate on that formula without making it completely unrecognizable?
I mean, it doesn't hugely iterate on it. To say the gameplay is basically Streets of Rage. It's fighting, it's punching, it's kicking, it's grabbing. You've got your characters that all have slightly different play styles and abilities. I usually played as Cherry because she was young and had cool hair and a guitar.
Oh,
And
fresh.
yeah, so she seems pretty fucking awesome. Like the only thing that could have beaten her was if there was someone on roller skates. That would have been, or like Bart Simpson in the Simpsons fighting game where he's on the skateboard. But she was awesome and really fun. But it's mostly just better graphics, better sound, better visuals. It feels a little smoother because you're on higher fidelity. So I felt like I could better understand. You always have that problem in beat 'em ups where they kind of live or die based on how deep you can. I'm trying to think how to explain it. There's that vertical plane that you have to tell how high up you're on to kind of make sure that you're the same height on that vertical plane as the person you're trying to punch.
Yeah, like semi-isometric.
Yeah, how deep how far away from the screen you are, essentially, like on the road.
Yeah.
And I can think of games where I had trouble with that. Like I was never good at that in the Golden Axe games as much as this one.
The perspective doesn't change in those games. It's just like you should be getting smaller, but you're not. You're just sort of moving up.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Because you're just kind of like moving along that weird plane, and I did not have as much trouble lining up as I had with games in the past. That could be
Cool.
just because it's, I'm now 20 years better at games than I was the first time I played a Streets of Rage game.
Yeah.
But maybe
Say
not.
that, but I bet if you booted up Golden Axe, it'd still feel kind of wonky.
Yeah, I'd probably still be pretty garbage at that.
For sure. Me too.
I don't think the previous Streets of Rage games had such different play styles as this one did, as far as like what each person could do. Like Cherry, one of the things I like about Cherry is that she can dash forward, and she's the only one that can dash forward. And I don't think that the previous Streets of Rage games had such different, where each one felt so different from the others.
Okay. That's kind of cool then. How many characters are there?
5 to start with, and there are a bunch of unlockable ones, including some from previous games. Like you have Axel and the red girl whose name I never remember. I think her name might be. I think it's Blaze.
It sounds like a red girl's name.
Yeah, but she's if you've ever played Streets of Rage, she's the one in red. Axel is the one with the baseball cap and the big man arms. So you've got them. I think it's 5 to start, and I think there's maybe up to 8 with unlockables. I have not unlocked all of them. Okay. I've only unlocked 1.
Do the unlockables have their own unique like skill sets as well, or are they just reskins?
I believe they're all unique.
Cool. That's kind of cool then.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's not a lot. I mean, unfortunately, it's not like it's not anything that's going to change the world of gaming. It's not anything that's going to blow the world apart or make you run out and tell everyone. But I could not stop smiling as I was playing it because it just it took me back to being 12, 13 years old, sitting in my cousin Paul's bedroom playing Streets of Rage on his Genesis. Yeah. Like, it just had that kind of feel of like, this is silly and over the top in that 90s way.
Yeah.
Where just
all the excessively dirty streets and criminality.
Yeah, everything was just turned up to 1,000. All of the thugs are in bright neon. There's one type of thug that just kicks and like knees you in the face, and it's so like, if you think about it now, the idea that there's an enemy that only kicks and knees you is so silly and stupid. But that's something that was just allowed in games in the 80s and 90s. Like, where none of these enemies needed to be realistic. Their costumes didn't need to make sense. It was perfectly fine that the big fat guy could bounce around and breathe fire. It's just fine. That's just what he does. He's just the big fat guy. That's what the big fat enemy does.
Yeah. If you get fat, you'd understand.
Yeah. If I was so fat that I was literally a sphere with a little cap on, I'd breathe fire. I don't know how I could not breathe fire.
Yeah, I think it says a lot about this game that it's sort of gained so much popularity, because there's been other quote-unquote sequels that have come out and not sort of had this sort of impact. I've just seen a lot of people talking about it, a lot of people excited about it. It wasn't like crazily critically received, like people weren't giving it 9s and 10s, but like people liked the game. And you see other games like the whatever the new Contra game was,
Oh
like
God, yeah.
the Booger Core, and like all these like things that are trying to mine your nostalgia like really lazily. Like they just haven't done well, but it probably says a lot about this game that it was received well by fans.
So I think part of that is just that it's not. It feels like something that was made with love. Again, like Sonic Mania.
Yeah.
There was a video, I can't remember who did it, about Sonic Mania and how the team was composed of people who had previously worked on Sonic fan games. So you've got this team of people that are already very much invested and in love with the idea of classic Sonic. And this has that same feel of very clearly being made
genius.
by... Yeah, right? I think what, like, this... I wish I could remember the video, and if I can remember it, I'll have Danielle put it in the show notes so I can link to it, because it was an amazing thing to listen to. And just see that kind of passion and know that that's a way that we could be doing game reboots and remakes.
Yeah.
Is by getting people who are in love with that game and obsessed with bringing that game back involved. Whereas with Contra, it just feels like we need to get this IP out there and just mine it for more money. This definitely felt like it was done by people who really cared and understood what made the previous games fun. And like the music is so in keeping and in theme with prior soundtracks, and you can toggle between like modern orchestration or it sounding like it's being played on the Genesis sound card. Some of the unlockable fighters are actually in their original pixel display, so they are just like pixel graphics. And I've not played extensively with any of them, but from the videos I've seen and talking to other people who have, they just slot in perfectly. Like, yeah, they look different, but the play is the same, and it doesn't feel weird or restrictive or incongruous. Which I think speaks a lot to how well they've designed everything.
All that is very good to hear.
Yeah, you can just take one of the old fighters and drop them into the new game, and it feels fine.
Yeah, they kind of did that too with some of the skins and things.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's
Not to
like
derail.
some of the unlockables are pixel graphic.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I got on it. Like, there's not a ton to say about it as like this is a new foray in games, other than just I hope more companies look at games like this and say, yes, that's what we should be doing with our old IPs, not turning them into weird shit or mobile games or slot machines, pachinko machines. Just give it to people who care about the IP, and you can make good quality games that sell.
Is it Metal Gear that made the pachinko machine?
No, Silent Hill. Silent Hill is now a pachinko machine.
Nice plays.
Yeah.
Konami. No one wants a new Silent Hill game, clearly.
No, Metal Gear, they did that Metal Gear Survive game.
Oh.
With the unicorn zombies or whatever the fuck they were.
The horny zombies, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, great. Is there anyone you would steer away from this? Because you seem to have pretty glowing their perspective on it.
I would say, because I'll be honest, I'm terrible at beat-em-ups. I'm really bad at them. I don't do good with things where I have to learn combos. I'm bad at them, and I've never been able to learn them. But I still have a lot of fun. But if you're the kind of person that doesn't... if you don't like beat-em-ups, this probably isn't a good game for you.
Yeah, you die a lot in beat-em-ups. Like, that's something you just gotta accept. It's like, you're gonna lose 4,000 lives getting through one playthrough.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And it does well with that. You can just begin again at the beginning of the stage. Like, I didn't feel like I wasn't ever gonna run out of quarters or continues or anything. That like thankfully was something they left. I mean, there's an arcade mode which does that, but you can just play through the story and just I failed the mission that ends in the. There's a mission that ends where you're in a parking lot with a bunch of. I think it's at a biker bar. I see. You know what? It probably is a biker bar because you go through a bar and then there's a parking lot that's filled with motorcycles. So I'm putting together now.
Sick inference.
They're clever little hints that it was actually a biker bar the whole time. But yeah, I could not get that boss to save my life. I spent like 2 hours trying to beat that boss because I'm hot trash. Real good game though. Still having a lot of fun with it.
Get good.
Do you want to tell us about Minecraft Dungeons?
Minecraft Dungeons. Alright, so to set the stage, I have played through 1.5 times. You start off in, like, basically normal difficulty, beat the final boss, then you can play the second highest difficulty, third highest difficulty, and then they have, like, modifiers after that. So, Minecraft, pretty much a household name at this point. Don't need to tell you what Minecraft is. Minecraft Dungeons
Actually, you know what?
has no...
Can I cut in? Can I ask you to summarize in 2 sentences what Minecraft is?
In Minecraft, you collect blocks of things of varying minerals. With those minerals, you craft things to make a life for yourself and those around you.
Cool. Okay.
Yeah, they're blocks. There's a lot of blocks. It's very square. It's the best I can do in 2 sentences.
Okay. No, that's good. That's good. We'll put a pin in that and come back to that later.
Great. In Minecraft Dungeons, you neither mine nor craft. The story is that there's a lonely guy, and he becomes a mean guy because he's so lonely. And you are a random silent hero. The gameplay is an isometric RPG, very much in the vein of Diablo. Hack and slash combat. Very, very minimal RPG mechanics, though, so like the replayability may be questionable. You have abilities in the form of items. Your entire customization is through items. You do level up, but I'm still not sure what leveling up does. I don't think it gives you any stat bonuses or anything. It just gives you more options for enchanting on your items. So you have a melee weapon, a ranged weapon, a piece of armor, and then 3 relics, which are basically your special abilities. You can only customize the first 3 that I mentioned, the weapons. So the first thing that hit me with this game is that I was really craving a good like looter RPG of some sort. And I never thought I'd say this, but fortunately I'm playing Borderlands 3 at the same time right now, because Minecraft Dungeons does not satisfy that itch whatsoever. The game feels slow all the time. My entire spec, i.e. all of the items I have, they're all built around giving me speed, because these weird procedurally generated worlds are sprawling and vast and beautiful, but it takes so long to navigate them. It completely wears on the gameplay.
Can I tell you something about on that note?
Yeah.
So this is one of those rare instances where you and I have both played a game.
Indeed.
I have played Minecraft Dungeons. In the first time I played it, I was playing it online with a friend. I fell asleep. I literally fell asleep while playing it. And it was not like 2 a.m. or anything, but it was just so slow that I literally fell asleep.
Yes. Super slow, super relaxing as well. So maybe that's part of it.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe mostly
that's what
slow.
going for.
Yeah, it's lullaby the game. That's an absolutely fair analogy. I've definitely played that game like right before bed, whereas I'm usually the person that has to like watch TV for like 2 hours before I'm ready for bed. But Minecraft, it's like, oh yeah, it's time for bed now. It's so one of the things that you'll notice immediately, especially, I'm gonna keep comparing it to Diablo because that's the game that I wanted to play while playing this. It's not the game that I wanted to play before this, but while playing this, the entire time I was just like, I could just be playing fucking Diablo. I'm a big Diablo fan, so I should, asterisk that as a caveat. But yeah, it doesn't scratch any of those same itches. So to cut ahead a little bit, if you're looking for a Diablo clone, look further, much further. But yeah, there's no classes, so basically you're creating the same character everyone else is. So if you join up with 4 of your friends, you can all play the exact same class. It won't make any difference. There's very few items that make that big of a difference in group play. I will say the controls on console are a fucking nightmare as well. I'll find some good things to say about this game. The controls feel terrible. They feel absolutely gross. I don't know why. Using items feels weird. Moving around feels weird. Rolling feels weird. I didn't have this problem in Diablo, and I looked at the controls for Diablo, and they're kind of the same. And I don't know what happened between those games, because I went from thinking Diablo was the best implementation of the genre ever, and it could not be improved upon, to like, wait, how did they fuck this up so bad? I literally have all of the mappings the exact same, and it still feels just wrong. And maybe it's just the type of game that it is. And I guess I should note, too, that I almost never change controls within games. Like, I always try and learn what they, through QA, have figured out to be the best control scheme. And I don't think they found it with this game. I do not.
Can I ask you a question about this game?
Yeah, sure.
Who is this game for?
Kids.
Is it, though?
Kids, families.
Because I was thinking about this. If you think about a game like Minecraft, Minecraft is a complex game. Even if you take out redstone usage, just the systems that exist in Minecraft of collecting and crafting items to stay alive, or the systems of building things, moving around in 3D space to build things in creative mode. It's a complex game. None of that exists in Minecraft Dungeons. None of that. I feel like the abilities you need to have to play Minecraft Dungeons is actually less than in Minecraft itself.
I think that's one of the nice things about Minecraft is that it's sort of a blank canvas. Like, if you want to go in and just mine dirt and make fucking sandcastles, like, there's zero barrier to entry for that game. Like, you can go in and do that and probably have the time of your life. Like, if you were a 5-year-old, maybe that's just where you cap out. But you may think that game is still the best game ever. If you're 25 and you're making these complex, like, redstone electronics systems, like, you may think it's the best game ever for the complete opposite reason. I don't think Minecraft Dungeons has that sort of pliability at all. I think it's if anything kind of hard too later on. So it's definitely not that welcoming.
But like Minecraft, blew up in 2009.
Yeah.
So people who got into that game, who are interested in that game, are easily teenagers now, if not older.
Yeah.
Even if you were born on the day Minecraft was released, you're 11. Like,
weird.
Everything about about Minecraft Dungeon felt like Play School presents Your First Dungeon Crawler. Like, it was so slow and so generous with keeping you alive and so light on any real difficulty, any real challenge.
Yeah, it definitely is like that early on. There is some weird spikes in challenge later on, though, I will say, which again begs the question, like, who is this for? Because you can't like easily scale the difficulty. Like, either you're playing on the easiest difficulty, which is completely unrewarding, or you're playing on the higher difficulties, which can actually get hard. But to answer your question, I honestly have no idea who this is for. It's for multiplayer. That is the only time it's made sense to me playing with 2 other friends. So if you're looking for a dumb game to play with your friends, this is probably a decent one. I don't think I had much fun, if any fun, playing solo, admittedly. But I might be just reaching.
Now, before we started this podcast early in the week, I assigned you a little bit of homework.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what that was?
Yeah, to play Riverbond.
Did you play Riverbond?
I played the tutorial of Riverbond, yes.
Did you have any thoughts while playing the tutorial of Riverbond?
If Riverbond had a proper equipment screen and setup, it would be basically the same game.
And Riverbond came out last year.
Yeah,
I think
it was not by the same developers as you noted.
Yep, I immediately, once I started playing Minecraft Dungeons, thought, oh, did they just get the guys who did Riverbond to make a Minecraft skin? Because Riverbond was already voxel, that same perspective, not being able to move the camera.
Yeah. I, I will say that just subtracting the looting element from that formula, which seems to be all Riverbond is missing
Yep.
between the two of them, it made it completely unbearable, the experience. I had no interest in it whatsoever. So maybe that says a lot about the Minecraft Dungeons experience as well, is that if there was no loot in that game, I would have absolutely no reason to have beaten that.
Oh yeah,
Or-
Riverbond is not a great game by any
No.
means, but it just playing through Minecraft Dungeons, it felt like I was just playing Riverbond again, or like Riverbond
Yeah.
2. Like
Yeah, no, straight up. Like the Playmobil version of Minecraft. But it came out before, so...
Oh yeah, if I didn't know the release dates, I would have thought Riverbond was a cheap ripoff of Minecraft Dungeons
Yeah.
because of their great similarities. Do you think, and I don't, this is something that I don't think we'd ever know if we did, but do you think that this is a situation where they already had a game somewhat in development, and then someone had the idea to make it a Minecraft game? Because nothing about this game is a Minecraft game, other than visually.
Right. It's hard to say. I mean, that sort of implies that it shifted entire dev studios from some other company straight to like Mojang and I forget the name of the company that co-developed it. But it's definitely possible. But also, Microsoft sort of has this like, brands initiative, like with Gears Tactics, which worked out wonderfully. Like that was a game that was made for the tactics genre, in my opinion. Like it crossed over beautifully.
But at least the Gears series is about getting behind cover and shooting things.
Exactly. So I think this is the example of them in that same initiative being like, what else can we do with our brands? And somebody was like, well, we have so many creatures and these like unique biomes that we can create all these different worlds. Like, why not like a hack and slash looter? Like, let's try that out. And so he was like, yeah, there's not much competition in that space. Like, there really isn't. Like, if Minecraft Dungeons turned out to be an amazing game, like that could have been its own fucking series for a millennia.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, because like I think that's why, again, just because Gears is in the same Microsoft family, like that works so well because like that XCOM style tactical game, that's not a common game. They saw that their brand could fit in that space and they made it fit well. I think this was probably always conceptualized as a Minecraft game, and I think it just wasn't realized correctly. I think it's just a game that they thought sounded good, but then they realized it has no heart and soul in Minecraft. It just has the aesthetic of Minecraft. And honestly, because of that, they missed so many interesting opportunities to make this a truly unique game and not just like the most diet flat, left in the sun cola beverage version of Diablo that you've ever seen.
Because that was my real issue with it, or my experience with it was like it was such a C- or C+ game. Like there's nothing wrong with it. It never crashed on me. The controls on PC were fine. Setting up multiplayer was easy. The gameplay was technically competent.
Yeah, I mean that's all you can really say about the game. It's like it's fine. Like I expected so much of this game. That's why I'm gonna just harp on it. But it handles well. Like it feels good sometimes, but it doesn't dazzle at like any point in time.
Would you recommend it to anyone?
Well, so well. I don't know. For someone who's always looked at Diablo and thought that seems like a lot of game, or Path of Exile and thought that seems like a lot of game, like that can be true in both cases. It can be fun. It can feel fun if you really like killing a bunch of creatures at the same time. Like you do feel like a god in this game, especially at the lower levels. Like you could really shred some ass. But I don't know who. I would recommend this to. Don't play it alone. It's not fun alone. It's quite boring. If you can get some friends, you're looking for a casual game with calm music, fairly relaxing. There's a couple of stressful boss fights, but it's just mostly poor design, honestly. You might be able to have a decent experience. Like, I'll probably still pop online and play it with a couple of friends of mine, just because it's fine. Like, I enjoy maybe the social aspect more at this point than I do the game. There's next to no point to the looting. It's just like, I hope that item that I've already seen 10 levels ago drops for me at my current level because it got out of date and I can't use it anymore. And even though I was enjoying that and the combo that I had with that and my relics and abilities, I can't do that anymore because it's not feasible. And there's not that many weapons and armors in the game where you're like getting a completely new experience every 10 levels. It's just that you're suddenly getting fucking one-shotted by creatures, and then you're like, well, I have to upgrade, even though like the synergies between these items make absolutely no fucking sense. So yeah, but again, it's not completely incompetent. It's not like they dumped off a half-baked game. It's fully baked, it's just not fully realized. There's so much that they could have done. Like, if they added crafting or some sort of like not obviously not mining, but you know, like something. That's what they're paid for. Figure out something to make this truly a Minecraft game, because Minecraft is not necessarily like the most unique game anymore. There's a lot of copycats out there, but you can take what you already know about what's fun about that franchise and bridge it into other genres. Do that. Try again with Minecraft Dungeons 2, and we'll see where we're at. But Minecraft Dungeons 1, you know, don't download it right this second. Not really a big deal.
All right, that works for me.
Yep.
You want to rank these puppies?
Yeah. We have to rank last week's because if any of you have listened for more than a few episodes, we tend to forget to rank games every once in a while.
Yeah.
We're bad boys. We can't be tied down by the man or whatever.
I don't know that anyone's going to be surprised by my saying that Animal Crossing is going at the bottom of my list right now, number 6.
Oh, 2020 is a good year. Number 6.
Yeah.
Oh, what the fuck?
You remember
Deliver Us the Moon.
Yeah, you remember what you played.
I'm gonna put Deliver Us the Moon at number 2.
Nice.
Deliver Us the Moon. It was, yeah, it was a good game. Not a lot to talk about, apparently. After re-listening to that episode, just to be like explaining the story, but not giving spoilers. But it's a nice, simple, story-based indie game. Check it out.
I'm going to be putting this week's game, Streets of Rage 4, at number 3, just below Murder by Numbers and right above Doom Eternal. Doom Eternal, that's what it was called.
I'm going to put Minecraft Dungeons at number 4 on my list out of 6. So that means it's below Ori and above Totally Reliable Delivery Service.
I was going to say, like, how is it not at the bottom of your list? But I remember what else is on your list.
I have played some truly insufferable games this year.
Yeah, so far I think I've had the better luck with games this year.
Yeah, I'm pretty jealous looking at your list, honestly.
Yeah.
If Animal Crossing's the worst game you've played, then it's pretty okay. Quarantine you're having here.
It's okay by me. Quarantine? What do you mean quarantine? What's going on? Something happened?
Pandemic? Or are you just not subscribing to that whole thing?
There was and I apologize if I've referenced this already, but I reference it all the time. There was a cartoon in the New Yorker in like the 1940s, as I'm sure you're all aware. And it was these two Wall Street fat cats, you know, that standard like suspenders, cigars, sitting in front of a fireplace in ornate wingback chairs. And one of them is saying to the other, "I didn't tell my wife about the depression. She just would have worried." And I feel jealous of that wife.
What are all these corpses on Wall Street? Black 2 what now?
You don't want to distress them. Just don't tell them. They're better off not knowing.
Oh, topics.
Do you wanna sign us out? You wanna take us home?
Yeah, Game Off Podcast. Check us out on things. We have Twitter, we have Facebook, we have not Instagram. They banned us. I don't know why.
Did they? Were we too
Yeah,
saucy?
yeah. Too saucy. Too many butt crack pics. Yeah, at Game Off Podcast on pretty much every platform. That includes podcast listening platforms, etc., etc. All your follows are very appreciated. Subscribes, etc., etc. I've been Arcadia, ARKEYDIA. Follow me on stuff too.
Oh yeah, I've been
Your turn.
I've been Solitalker, or Andy, whichever one. Solitalker, I think.
Just search Andy on Google. You'll find it.
I'm the only Andy around. That's Andy. You can check me out where I sometimes make videos about Solitalker, about Solitalker. Oh, Jesus, this is the
By yourself, classic Andy.
sometimes it's just
The only.
it's just a recursive video thing I do where each video is a review of the last video I did. It's pretty meta. You're gonna like it. You check me out on a new podcast where me and my boss do a watch along of every episode of Greg the Bunny, and we talk about that.
I wish that was a real thing now. Come on, man. Tease.
I know. I'm sorry. It's too good of an idea. That's copyrighted, patent pending on that podcast idea there.
Patent submitted. Too late.
Oh shit. Yeah, check me out wherever. I do things sometimes, pretty rarely though. Don't expect much.
Cool. Sick. Fresh. All right. That's been episode 32. Everyone. See ya.